but for some reason I decided to start a YouTube channel. I don't know why, but I figured no really better way to start than to explain this, which is my car. This is a 1990 Mazda Miata MX-5 for everyone who wants to properly call it an MX-5. And there's nothing really done to it. It is about as bare bones as it gets. It's the only things that I've really done to it is I've replaced OE parts on it. So I've got a new mass airflow meter and a new radiator, because when I got the car, I opened the hood and saw that the radiator was actually leaking coolant from just up here around the seal. So I got that replaced for like 120 bucks. It wasn't too bad. It's just a stock, aftermarket OE. Basically just a recreation of the OE stock radiator that's in this car. And then I bought that one from O'Reilly's for about 80 bucks. Because I originally thought that was what was wrong with my car, but it turns out that is not at all what's wrong with it. I've actually got a problem going on here with the throttle position sensor and the idle air control valve. I believe the idle air control valve is stuck open, causing my car to idle about twice as much as normal. I'm in the middle of a project right now. I don't understand why, but I was in the middle of a clutch job, and as you can see, I've got the exhaust out over there, and so in the middle of the clutch job, I get to the transmission, which I understand this is a terrible place to actually show you the transmission. I got to take the transmission out of the car because any of you people out there who have went about taking a clutch out of a car before, you know that it's kind of a pain in the butt unless you've done it before. And I have never done it before, so it was very fun. I didn't actually get the clutch changed because I gave up, but these bolts here, I got this one, and that one out, and then the one that sits just above the slave cylinder. It's kind of hard. You can't see it from here, but it sits just above the slave cylinder, right below the starter bolts. This is the slave cylinder right here. It basically controls your clutch fork, which is sitting right here. The clutch fork pushes the clutch. When you push the clutch in, it disengages the clutch and allows the flywheel to spin freely, or the shaft to spin freely, allowing your car to move. And I couldn't get this bolt right here. Very hard to see, but that bolt, I can get that bolt out, and then the top two transmission bolts, I can get those out either. They just wouldn't come out. I believe, if I'm not wrong, that this is the factory OE clutch that came from Mazda 30 years ago. I don't understand why it's lasted this long. Either that or it was changed when it was properly supposed to be, and it just kind of, it's been so long, it's just these bolts are just kind of seized. I'm gonna have to take it to someone, unfortunately, to get them to break that bolt, and then the top two transmission bolts, which I'll show you right. Which I'll show you right here. You can kind of see back in there. There's a bolt way back there. That one right there. That guy. That's the top transmission bolt, and then this one's kind of impossible to see, but the other one is it's down in here, which I believe, and those two would not come off. If you saw the other bolt, I'll show you again. The other bolt on the top here, it's actually starting to round, so I kind of just stopped messing with it. I'm not going to round a transmission bolt off, and then that wind up being an entire new set of problems for me. But yeah, I'm going to talk about the engine real fast. The engine is just the factory stock 1.6. I just recently replaced the spark plugs. I think I'm going to have to get a new set of coils next, because of, well, the car, it seems to have a misfire, and I thought it might have just been the spark plugs, because usually that's an easy fix for a misfire, but I think it's these ignition coils. Let's see here. What else do I want to talk about? These wheels I bought on Facebook Marketplace for, I think, $210. I got all 4 wheels. They come from an NB1 Miata. If you guys don't know, this is the NA Miata, the first year of the NA Miata. And I got all 4 of these wheels from an NB1, which is the first generation of the NB Miata. I do have the stock Daisy wheels. They're sitting underneath this car cover here, underneath my tools. I like the look of them, but I told myself when I bought the car, if I get any wheels for this car, it's going to be the NB1 wheels for it, because they just, you know, they look very nice on the car overall. And you know, I just thought that it would be super nice to have some new wheels on the car. I am going to keep these. I'm not going to get rid of them. I'm actually working on getting the center caps for them, because mine are missing the Mazda center caps. And once I get the Mazda center caps, if I ever do decide to get rid of this car, which I don't want to, because it's my first stick shift, I learned how to drive stick on this car, I want to keep those to put back on the car, to kind of sell it all as original, because this car is as original as it gets. I haven't seen many Miatas like this. I know many people buy these 90s and they kind of just, they boost them and do all crazy things to them. I don't really want to do that. I just mainly want to keep it stock as it is. The engine bay is a little dirty. I do need to clean it up. Haven't got a chance to do this. My car's been on jack stands for the past week almost. I've been having to hitch rides back and forth to work, but it's actually coming off jack stands today. I've just got to get back there and put the exhaust back on, and once the exhaust goes back on, I'm just going to drive it as it is. The clutch it's starting to slip. It's on its way out, but it should last me just enough time to get to send it to a shop somewhere and get it properly changed. But there isn't much else to this car. The only thing I did do aftermarket, like visuals, is this badge. I always thought that badge looked really nice on the Miatas. It didn't actually come with that badge from the factory. I put that badge on there just because, like I said, I thought it looked really good. The car on the outside, it can use some work, especially if we look real closely here. You can kind of see this and this. There's a big difference here. If you look close enough, you can actually see a difference. But the rear end of my car was recently repainted because I was in an accident. But you can clearly see the difference here. If you look, this is all nice and shiny. It was repainted, but then you've got the doors here and the front fenders and the hood and the lights and the bumper all need to be repainted eventually, either that or buffed, and I don't know if I'm going to buff it or repaint it yet. But yeah, that's all I wanted to really just kind of introduce my car. It's an amazing little car for people that are kind of just looking. It gets really good gas mileage compared to some of the modern cars people go with, like a Civic or anything like that. It's a fun little stick shift to drive. It's very small. It takes some getting used to on the inside, but once you actually get used to it, you feel like you're just driving a normal car. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to go over in this video. I've got a bunch of plans for this car. I'm hoping that this series kind of like documents my progress on this car. I wanted to start it earlier, just hadn't had a chance to get around to it, but I'm glad I'm starting now. Feels really good to actually get this out there, just so that I have something to look back on, and kind of just take a look at, just for reference in the future. If I do keep this car, if I do get rid of it, I can look back and see how far it's come from when I got it. But I'm gonna finish up the exhaust and then probably take it and get it washed, because I don't know if you saw, but there's dust and leaves all over the place. You can see the leaves that are collected in my top, and you can see the dust and dirt all over the back of the car. I've got a bunch of stories I want to tell about this car because it's very, very, it's a very interesting story on how I got it, but I'm glad I did. I'm gonna end it there. I appreciate you watching if you did, and I'll be back in the next one. See ya.